The night doesn't wait for her to catch her breath. It throws itself at her. Wind howls through the mountain pass like it has teeth, tearing at her coat, biting into her skin, screaming her fear back at her louder than her own thoughts. Snow slams sideways, sharp and blinding, turning the world into a white blow of pain and panic. Every step burns. Every breath feels stolen. She's bleeding. She can feel it soaking through the fabric at her side, warm against her freezing skin, a cruel reminder that she can't keep this up much longer. Her boots slip on ice-slick stone. She catches herself on a jagged rock, gasping, teeth chattering so hard it hurts her jaw. She doesn't dare look back. Because she knows they are there. She can feel them, shadows moving too fast, too quiet, not human, not merciful. The sound of pursuit isn't loud. It's worse than that. It's measured. Confident. Like predators who already know the ending. Her heartbeat is thunder in her ears. Too loud. Too slow. Too fragile. She forces herself forward, limping deeper into the storm, every muscle screaming. The mountain doesn't care who she is or what she's running from. It only answers pain with more pain. Snow swallows her footprints almost as soon as she makes them, like the world itself is trying to erase her. Just like they tried to erase her. Exile. That word still stings worse than the cold. Cast out. Unwanted. Marked as a mistake. An omega, who was never supposed to be born, never supposed to survive, never supposed to matter. The storm feels like all of it pressed into one moment, every rejection, every whispered warning, every look that said you don't belong here. Her lungs burn as she stumbles again. No, not now, she whispers, voice cracking, torn apart by the wind. Please. Not now. Because something inside her is stirring. She feels it under her skin, deep and restless, like heat trapped beneath ice. It pulses with her fear, answering it, feeding on it. A pressure in her chest. In her bones. Silver bright and dangerous. She clamps down hard, nails digging into her palms. I can't let it out, she breathes, more prayer than thought. If I do, they'll all be right about me. For a heartbeat, just one, silver light flashes beneath her skin, racing along her veins like liquid fire. Her vision blurs. Her fingers curl, nails sharpening, joints shifting painfully, as something ancient pushes back against the cage she's kept it in for her entire life. She gasps, choking on the cold. No. Not here. Not like this. She forces it down with everything she has left. The change halts halfway, leaving her shaking, half broken, human enough to bleed and die. Her hands ache where claws almost were. Her body trembles from the effort of staying small. She staggers forward again. The storm thickens, swallowing sound, swallowing light. The mountain path narrows, sheer drops on either side disappearing into nothingness. One wrong step and it's over. Maybe that would be easier. Maybe that's what they expect. A sharp pain slices through her side as she slips, crashing to her knees. Snow packs into her mouth. She coughs, spits, sobs once before biting it back. Crying wastes air. Crying gets you caught. The presence behind her shifts. Closer now. She doesn't need to see them to know. The air feels heavier, charged, like the moment before lightning strikes. Her skin prickles. Fear crawls up her spine, cold fingers wrapping around her throat. She pushes herself up, legs screaming in protest. Just a little farther, she whispers, though she doesn't know where farther is. She just knows stopping means ending. The wind screams louder, almost furious, as if warning her. or mourning her. Snow lashes her face so hard it stings. Tears freeze before they can fall. And still she runs. Because if she stops, if she lets them take her, she won't just lose her life. She'll lose the secret she's been dying to protect. The storm surges around her, wild and merciless, chasing her toward something unseen, something waiting. Fate feels close now. Not gentle. Not kind. Just inevitable. And if stories where destiny hunts harder than wolves pull at something deep inside you, subscribe to Moonbound Werewolf Romance stories. Your next obsession begins here. She doesn't know it yet, but the mountain is not just a place of escape. It's a threshold. And with blood in the snow and silver fire trembling under her skin, the Omega runs straight into the moment that will change everything. The storm doesn't fade. It stops. Not slowly. Not gently. One heartbeat it's screaming, clawing at her skin, then the wind cuts off like something massive just inhaled. Snow hangs in the air, suspended, glittering in a strange, unnatural stillness. Her next step falters. Silence presses in so hard it hurts her ears. She turns, panic spiking sharp and fast, every instinct screaming trap. That's when she sees him. He steps out of the whiteout as if it parts for him. Tall. Broad-shouldered. Wrapped in dark layers that don't move with the cold. He doesn't rush. Doesn't brace against the ice. He walks like the mountain already belongs to him. His presence is heavy. Not loud. Heavy in a way that settles into her bones and makes her chest ache. Her breath catches. He stops a few steps away, far enough to be safe, close enough that she feels heat radiating from him that has nothing to do with fire. Then he says her name. Not shouted. Not questioned. Spoken low. Steady. Like a promise kept too long. The sound of it hits her harder than the cold ever did. Her heart stutters. Fear explodes in her chest, wild and dizzying. How does he know her? Her hand flies to her side, blood slick and shaking. She backs away, boots scraping ice. Don't, she warns, voice thin and breaking. I don't have anything left. His gaze drops, not to her wound, but to her hands. To the faint silver shimmer she's still forcing beneath her skin. Something unreadable crosses his face. Recognition. Relief. Pain. Behind her, the present surges. The hunters break the edge of the storm in a blow of motion, too fast, too many, eyes burning with intent. She doesn't have time to scream. He moves. Not toward her. Toward them. The first attacker doesn't even understand what's happening. There's a flash of movement, the sound of bone snapping clean and final. Another lunges, snarling, only to be lifted off the ground and thrown into stone hard enough to crack it. There's no roar. No loss of control. Just precise, devastating force, delivered like judgment. The mountain seems to bow. She watches, frozen, as the others hesitate. For the first time, fear flickers in their eyes. They retreat. Not because they are ordered to. Because something in him tells them survival means leaving now. When the last shadow disappears into the storm, the wind exhales. Snow begins to fall again, soft and quiet, like the world is pretending nothing just happened. He turns back to her. Up close, his eyes glow faintly, not the wild blaze of a feral alpha, but something deeper. Older. Like embers buried under centuries of ash. He stops himself from reaching for her. That restraint hurts worse than violence. You shouldn't exist, he says, voice low, rough around the edges, as if the words cost him something. And yet, here you are. The weight of that settles between them. She should run. Every lesson she ever learned screams at her to move, to disappear, to survive. But her legs won't listen. Her knees buckle instead, strength draining all at once now that the danger has passed. The world tilts. For a terrifying second, she's falling into nothing. Then arms catch her. Strong. Steady. Careful. He holds her like she's fragile, like he's sworn to keep her that way. His grip is warm through the cold, grounding her, pulling her back from the edge of darkness. She gasps, fingers curling weakly into his coat. He freezes, breath hitching, like her touch is something he's forbidden himself to feel. Easy, he murmurs, not commanding, not distant. Close. Too close. I've got you. The words undo something in her. She tries to pull back, pride flaring weakly. Don't, she whispers. You don't know what I am. His jaw tightens. I know exactly what you are. That should terrify her. Instead, it makes her chest ache. Her vision blurs. The silver heat inside her stirs again, responding to him, recognizing something ancient that feels dangerously like home. She fights it, lashes herself to consciousness with sheer will. Why, she asks, the question tearing out of her before she can stop it. Why help me? For the first time, he looks uncertain. Snow gathers in his dark hair. Moonlight cuts sharp lines across his face, scarred, controlled, impossibly tired. He looks like a man who has waited far too long for something he never believed would come. Because, he says quietly, I've been listening for your heartbeat for 200 years. Her breath leaves her in a broken sound. That's when the strength finally gives out. Darkness rushes in, heavy and soft. The last thing she feels before it takes her is his arms tightening, not in possession, not in fear, but in something dangerously close to relief. He carries her without effort, but not without care. Her weight rests against his chest, light in a way that twists something deep inside him. She's burning and freezing all at once. Fevered. Shaking. Every uneven breath she takes feels borrowed. He adjusts his grip instinctively, shielding her from the worst of the cold, turning his body into a barrier between her and the mountain. Her head lolls against his shoulder. And the past opens its mouth. She drifts, not into sleep, but into memory. Blood-red moonlight spills across packed dirt. A circle of wolves stands rigid and silent, their faces carved from fear and certainty. The night she was born, the sky itself looked wounded. Elders whispered before she ever cried. They didn't touch her at first. They stared. Then they saw the mark. A sigil faint but unmistakable, etched into her skin like a promise no one wanted to keep. Old symbols. Older meaning. The kind that made strong wolves step back and mothers pull their children closer. She'll bring ruin, someone said. Softly. Like a truth already agreed upon. Another voice, colder. Kill her before she shifts. Her first breath was taken under a sentence. No one claimed her. No one wrapped her in pride or belonging. She grew up on the edge of every gathering, watching packs form bonds she was never invited into. Every laugh stopped when she came too close. Every silence told her the same thing, you are a risk we tolerate, not a life we protect. They named her power in pieces, never all at once. Like saying it whole would make it real. Silver flame. A voice that bends ancient bloodlines to its will. A force meant to wake things better left asleep. So they sealed it. She remembers the pain. The way the magic burned cold, as it locked something vast inside something small. The way the elders' hands shook as they finished, fear all over their faces. Not fear for her. Fear of her. After that, she learned to disappear. To make herself smaller than her fear. Quieter than her thoughts. She learned how to bow her head just enough, how to speak only when spoken to, how to survive by becoming harmless. Every instinct trained toward shrinking. Toward being less. Because less was safer. Even now, as he carries her through the storm, her body reacts before her mind does. Muscles tight. Breath shallow. The old fear coils tight around her heart. But something is wrong. The seal aches. Not a sharp pain. A deep, pulsing throb, like something stretching after a long sleep. It responds to him, his presence, his heartbeat, the ancient weight in his voice. The power inside her presses outward, restless, aware. She stirs. Her lashes flutter. Consciousness claws its way back in fragments. Cold stone beneath her cheek. The steady rise and fall of his chest. The sound of his breath, slow, controlled, real. Her fingers twitch against his coat. Panic flares. She tries to pull away, strength failing her. No, she whispers, the word barely there. Her throat burns. Her voice cracks under the weight of too many memories. He slows instantly. You're safe, he says, not softly, not loud. Certain. She shakes her head weakly. Don't take me back. The words drag themselves out of her like broken glass. Her eyes don't fully open, but tears leak anyway, hot against her frozen skin. Her hand grips his sleeve with surprising force, desperation bleeding through exhaustion. I'd rather die, she breathes, each word shaking, than kneel again. He stops. Snow gathers around them, settling on his shoulders, catching in her hair. For a moment, the mountain holds its breath with them. Something dark and furious moves behind his ribs, not toward her. Toward the world that taught her those words. I won't, he says, and this time there is no doubt in it. No hesitation. No one will make you kneel. Her grip loosens. Relief and fear crash together inside her, tangled and overwhelming. The seal pulses again, brighter this time, answering the promise whether she wants it to or not. She exhales, a shuddering sound. Her consciousness slips, but not before one last truth rises to the surface, quiet, devastating. She has spent her whole life running from what she is. And somehow, without meaning to, she has run straight into the one being who sees it clearly. The darkness takes her again, deeper this time, while he resumes walking, jaw set, arms steady. The mountain no longer feels like a place of escape. It feels like the beginning of a reckoning. He carries her beyond the reach of the storm, into a place the mountain has been hiding. Stone rises from the snow like the bones of something ancient. Half buried, half remembered. A circle of broken pillars. An altar worn smooth by time. No pack markings. No borders. This place existed before alphas learned to rule, and omegas learned to bow. A forgotten sanctuary. As he steps inside the ring, the air changes. Not warmer. Thicker. Like the world is leaning in. Moonlight spills through in the clouds and touches the stone, and the carvings wake. Lines etched deep into the rock begin to glow, faint at first, then brighter. Symbols coil and stretch as if breathing. They answer her before they answer him. She stirs in his arms. The hum begins low, vibrating through the ground, climbing into her bones. The seal inside her tightens, then pulls, like it's being called by name. Her breath catches. Her fingers curl, not in fear this time, but in recognition she doesn't understand. He sets her down carefully at the edge of the altar. The moment her blood-darkened sleeve brushes the stone, the sanctuary exhales. Light flares silver and white. The air bends, warping around her like heat over flame. The carvings shift, rearranging themselves into words so old they feel carved into memory rather than stone. A voice rises, not loud, not soft. Everywhere. The one who breaks the seal. Her heart slams against her ribs. She pushes herself up on trembling arms, eyes wide, breath shallow. No, she whispers. You're wrong. The light pulses. The Omega who wakes the king. Her gaze snaps to him. He's gone still, every line of his body drawn tight, eyes locked on the altar like it might strike him. The glow paints his face in stark lines, beautiful and terrible all at once. There is no denial in him. Only confirmation. She feels it then. The truth sliding into place with sickening clarity. The way the seal has been aching since she met him. The way the power inside has surged at his voice. The way the storm bowed when he arrived. She shakes her head, scrambling back. I'm nothing, she says, the words spilling out raw and fast. They sealed me because I was a mistake. I don't wake kings. I ruin things. The ground answers her fear with another hum. The voice speaks again, closer now, layered with others, ancient, patient. Blood called to blood. The last seal waited for her pulse. His jaw tightens. He steps forward at last, slow, like approaching something sacred and dangerous. 200 years, he says, voice low, stripped of myth and weight. That's how long I slept. Bound? Waiting for a sign that never came. He looks at her hands. At the faint silver glow trembling under her skin. Until you bled on the mountain. The memory slams into her. The fall. The rock. The blood soaking through her coat. Her blood. Her knees give out. She catches herself on the altar, cold stone biting into her palms. No, she breathes. I didn't mean to. I didn't. I know, he says immediately. Too quickly. Like the thought of her blaming herself is unbearable. You weren't meant to choose this. The sanctuary responds to his words with a violent flare of light. Images flood the air between them, visions torn from time. A crown wreathed in flame. A throne split by claw and fire. Wolves kneeling. Wolves burning. Her standing at the center of it all, silver fire in her veins, eyes blazing with something too vast to be mercy alone. She cries out, clutching her head as the visions tear through her. Stop. Please. The light dims, obeying her instinctively. That terrifies her more than anything else. She looks at him again, really looks. The power in him isn't just strength. It's history. Loneliness stretched across centuries. A king who slept because the world was safer without him. You're the Alpha King, she whispers, the title tasting unreal. The stories say you were sealed because you were too dangerous to rule. A muscle jumps in his jaw. They sealed me because I wouldn't kneel to fear, he says. And I prayed, every year of that silence, that the prophecy was wrong. He meets her gaze, and for the first time, there is something like vulnerability there. Stripped. Honest. I prayed you wouldn't be real. The words land heavy, not cruel. Afraid. Her chest aches in a way she doesn't have language for. I don't want this, she admits. I don't want crowns or fire or people bowing because they are afraid of me. I know, he says quietly. Outside the sanctuary, the mountain groans. Far off, something answers. Something old. Something waking. The light around the altar settles into a steady glow, like a held breath. Fate has found them. And neither of them is ready for what it wants. The sanctuary doesn't stay hidden for long. Power never does. The first warning is the air shifting, pressure rolling in like a coming storm. The hum beneath the stone deepens, uneasy now, no longer reverent. He feels it before he sees it. His spine straightens. His gaze snaps to the edge of the ruins. She feels it too. The seal inside her tightens, not aching this time, but bracing. Fear sharpens her senses. The mountain grows loud again, not with wind, but with intent. They are not alone anymore. Shapes emerge from the tree line, stepping into moonlight one by one. Tall. Commanding. Alphas, their power rolling off them in waves meant to dominate, to bend the space around them to their will. Their eyes lock onto her first. Always her. Whispers ripple through the stone circle like poison. That's her. The marked Omega. She's an abomination. The word hits harder than any blade. One of them steps forward, lips curling in disgust. You brought this thing here. His gaze flicks to the man beside her, sharp with accusation. Have you forgotten what she is? She takes a step back without thinking. Her heel catches stone. Panic flares hot and fast. Another voice cuts in, colder. Kill her before she finishes the prophecy. The words echo. Kill her. Her breath stutters. Her chest tightens until it hurts. She waits for him to move, to stand in front of her, to shield her the way he did before. He doesn't. Not right away. He turns slowly, meeting the gathered alphas head-on. Power rolls off him in response, ancient and undeniable. The ground vibrates under his feet. The sanctuary groans, caught between old loyalty and new fear. You don't speak her name in this place, he says. The alphas hesitate. Just a fraction. Enough for her to notice. Enough for something in her chest to crack. One of them laughs, sharp and disbelieving. You'd risk the packs for her. For a prophecy we buried for a reason. She'll burn us all, another snarls. Look at her. She's already awakening. Every word strips something raw inside her. She wraps her arms around herself, shrinking, instinct screaming at her to disappear. This is how it always starts. Fear dressed up as righteousness. She looks at him again. At his rigid shoulders. At the weight settling visibly onto him. His throne. His people. Her life. The choice hangs between them, thick and suffocating. We cannot allow this, an elder alpha says, voice trembling with something that sounds like fear. If you protect her, you stand against us all. Silence crashes down. She watches his jaw tighten. Watches him inhale slowly, like he's steadying himself against something heavy and inevitable. That's when she understands. No matter what he says next, the damage is already done. She backs away, careful not to draw attention. The stone feels cold under her hands. Her heart pounds so hard she's sure they can hear it. He opens his mouth. She doesn't stay to hear the answer. She turns and runs. Not blindly this time. Purpose burns through her fear, sharp and clear. She won't be the spark that sets his world on fire. She won't be the reason he loses everything he's protected for centuries. Snow crunches under her boots as she breaks from the sanctuary, the mountain swallowing her again. Her lungs burn. Tears blur her vision, but she doesn't slow. Behind her, voices rise. Confusion. Anger. He shouts her name. The sound tears something open inside her, but she keeps going. She doesn't look back. She runs until the sanctuary's glow is gone, until the mountain air tastes empty again. When she finally stops, it's only because her legs give out beneath her. She sinks to the snow, shaking, breath coming in ragged pools. "I won't do it," she whispers into the dark. "I won't destroy you." The seal inside her pulses, hot, furious, alive. For the first time, she doesn't push it down. She lets herself feel it. And far behind her, in the ruins she fled, the Alpha King stands amid rising chaos, knowing with devastating certainty that the world has just made a mistake it will not survive easily. Because the Omega they fear has chosen exile again. And next time, she may not run. He finds her just before the night breaks. Not because the mountain gives her up, but because he knows how she runs when she's hurting. Straight into places no one thinks to look. Downward. Into stone and shadow. Into silence. She's sheltering in a narrow cave carved by water and time, knees pulled to her chest, arms locked tight around herself like that might keep the world out. A small fire flickers in front of her, barely alive, its light trembling against the walls. Smoke curls low, clinging. The air smells like cold ash and blood. She doesn't hear him at first. She's too busy fighting the shaking in her hands. Too busy trying not to cry. When his presence brushes the edge of her awareness, she stiffens. Fear spikes sharp and reflexive. Her head snaps up. Her body coils, ready to bolt, even though there's nowhere left to go. He stops at the mouth of the cave. Doesn't step closer. Doesn't reach for her. Just stands there, framed by shadow, letting her see him clearly. "You shouldn't have run," he says, voice quiet, stripped of command. Her laugh comes out broken. "You shouldn't have followed." Silence settles between them, thick but not hostile. Firelight flickers across his face, catching the tension in his jaw, the exhaustion he hasn't bothered to hide. He looks wounded. Not physically. Something deeper. "I didn't hesitate," he says finally. Her chest tightens. "You didn't stop them either." The words hurt them both. He exhales slowly and steps inside, careful, deliberate, like approaching something that might shatter. He crouches across from her, keeping distance, eyes level with hers. "I've ruled too long by restraint," he says. "By choosing the lesser fire. Tonight, it nearly cost me you." She swallows hard, gaze dropping to the flames. "I won't be the reason your world burns." He shakes his head. "You already are the reason it might survive." She flinches at that. "Don't," she whispers. "Don't make me something I can't be." The fire pops softly. Sparks rise, then vanish. He looks at his hands. At the faint scars that never faded. "I was crowned before I understood what the crown takes," he says. "They sealed me because they feared what I'd become. But the truth is, the curse wasn't sleep." Her eyes lift despite herself. "It was immortality without choice," he continues. "Watching everyone I protect age, weaken, die, while I remain. Ruling without rest. Loving without keeping." His voice roughens. "The crown devours love. That's the price." Something in her chest softens, painful and tender all at once. "Then why wake at all?" He meets her gaze. Holds it. "Because you did." The seal inside her stirs, not violently, achingly. She presses her palm to her sternum, breath shallow. "It isn't just magic," she admits. "What they locked inside me." He waits. "It's fear," she says. Fear that if I stop holding back, I won't know how to stop at all. That I'll become exactly what they said I was. He shifts closer, slow enough that she could stop him. She doesn't. Look at me, he says. She does. His eyes aren't glowing now. They are steady. Present. Human in a way that feels dangerous. I see you, he says quietly. Not the weapon. Not the prophecy. You? Her breath catches. The words hit somewhere deep and unguarded. For a moment, she forgets the mountain. The packs. The blood and fire waiting beyond this small, fragile space. She forgets how to be afraid. He reaches out, hesitates a fraction of an inch from her cheek. She leans into the space without realizing it, breath mingling with his, warmth chasing away the cold in slow, careful increments. Their foreheads almost touch. Almost. Her lips part. His breath stutters. The world narrows to this, firelight, shared air, the unbearable closeness of something that could change everything. Then she pulls back. Just enough. If I trust you, she says, voice barely there may be no leaving. His hand drops to his side, not in anger. In understanding. Then I won't cage you, he says. Stay because you choose to. Or leave because you must. She studies him, searching for the lie she's been trained to expect. She doesn't find one. The fire burns lower. Outside, the mountain listens. For the first time in her life, the choice feels like hers. And that terrifies her more than any prophecy ever could. The mountain doesn't give them time. The fire has barely burned down when the air shifts again, wrong this time. Heavy. Watching. He feels it first. His spine goes rigid, instincts flaring sharp and angry. She sees it in his eyes. We are not alone, she whispers. Before either of them can move, the cave mouth floods with light. Torches. Wolves. Too many to fight without blood spilling everywhere. They pour in fast, surrounding the fire, the stone walls, her. At their front stands someone she knows. Someone she trusted. Her breath leaves her in a thin, broken sound. You, she says, disbelief cracking her voice. The elder steps forward, face calm, almost regretful. The same one who once bound her wounds. The same one who told her she could survive if she learned obedience. His eyes flick to the Alpha King, then back to her. I tried to protect you, he says softly. But some truths rot when hidden. Her heart pounds so hard it hurts. You told them, she whispers. He doesn't deny it. The council deserves to know what you are, he says. His voice rises, carrying beyond the cave, echoing down the stone corridors. She is the marked Omega. The one spoken of in the old warnings. Murmurs explode. Fear spreads like oil on flame. They drag her out of the cave, into the open, into the ruins where the sanctuary waits like a wound that never healed. Wolves gather in a wide circle, eyes burning with judgment. The moon hangs overhead, full and merciless. Someone shouts, say it again. The elder lifts his voice. The prophecy was never salvation, he declares. It was a warning. She will end us all. The words crash into her chest. End us all. The council steps forward as one. Faces hard. Decisions already made. Execution, one of them says. Before she completes the awakening. Hands grab her arms. Rough. Unafraid now. Her pulse roars in her ears. She searches the circle wildly, desperate. She finds him. He's standing at the edge, power rolling off him in waves, eyes blazing, but his feet don't move. Not yet. Say something, she begs, voice breaking. Please. The council turns to him. This is your choice, they say. Your throne, or her life. The world narrows to a single heartbeat. He looks at her. Something like agony crosses his face. Something like calculation. A king weighing the lives of many against one. He hesitates. Just a second. That's all it takes. Something inside her shatters. The sound isn't loud, but it's final. She stops struggling. The seal inside her fractures, hairline cracks splintering outward, light bleeding through. Silver heat floods her veins, no longer contained, no longer patient. Fear snaps into fury. She wrenches her arms free. Power erupts. The ground splits beneath her feet, stone screaming as ancient magic surges upward. Wolves stumble back, thrown by a force they can't see. Torches gutter and die. The air vibrates so hard it rattles teeth. Her eyes lift, blazing silver white. I ran, she says, voice layered with something vast and old. I bowed. I shrank. And it was never enough for you. The elder stares at her, horror dawning too late. You don't understand what you're becoming. I do, she cuts in. I'm becoming done. The Alpha King steps forward at last. Stop, he commands, not to her, to the council. This ends now. She turns to him, pain and betrayal colliding in her gaze. You had your chance. His chest tightens. I never chose them over you. But you didn't choose me, she says. The truth lands between them like a blade. The seal cracks wider. Light pours from her skin in blinding waves. The sanctuary answers, runes igniting, stones singing her name. The mountain trembles, deep and afraid. She takes a step back, power swirling uncontrolled, tears cutting hot paths down her face even as the silver fire rises. If I stay, she says softly, I'll destroy what you're trying to save. Then she vanishes into the light, into the storm of her own awakening. Silence crashes down. The Alpha King stands alone amid broken stone and terrified wolves, staring at the place where she stood, knowing with devastating clarity that the world has crossed a line it cannot uncross. Because the Omega they feared has stopped asking for mercy. And whatever rises in her place will remember who forced her hand. The sanctuary burns. Not with fire at first, but with fear. The moment she disappears, the night fractures. Shadows pour from the tree line, faster and more vicious than before. Rival packs surge forward, sensing weakness, sensing opportunity. Old grudges crawl out of the dark with teeth bared. The prophecy has become permission. Cries rip through the ruins. Innocents scatter. Younger wolves trip over fallen stone. Elders shout orders that dissolve into panic. The sacred ground meant to protect them all becomes a battlefield. He moves without hesitation. The Alpha King steps into the chaos like a wall, power flaring as he shifts, claws tearing through stone, teeth flashing white under moonlight. He pulls bodies out of harm's way, shoves wolves behind broken pillars, takes blow after blow meant for those who can't defend themselves. A blade finds him anyway. It sinks deep beneath his ribs, silver-edged and poisoned with intent. He snarls, tearing the attacker away, but the damage is done. Blood darkens his side. His breath stutters. Still, he stands. Fall back, he roars. Get them out. The sanctuary trembles, cracking under the weight of too much violence, too much fear. Then the light returns. Not gentle. Not asking. Silver fire rips open the air above the altar like the world itself is tearing. Heat slams outward, throwing enemies off their feet, flattening banners, silencing screams mid-breath. She steps out of it. No longer running. No longer shrinking. Her feet touch stone and the ground answers, splitting in reverence. Silver flame coils around her limbs, alive, obedient, blazing without consuming her. Her eyes glow like molten moons. Her hair lifts in an unseen wind, marked sigils burning bright against her skin. Every wolf feels it. Ancestors wake. Their voices crash through her chest, 1,000 heartbeats layered into one. Power pours through her veins, vast and steady now that she's stopped fighting it. She sees him. On one knee. Bleeding. Still protecting others even as his strength falters. Something inside her settles. The fear burns away. She steps forward and the attackers recoil, instincts screaming retreat. Stone melts beneath her feet, reshaping itself to her will. The sanctuary rises, ancient walls reforging, runes blazing like stars reborn. Enough, she says. Her voice is not loud. It doesn't need to be. The land listens. Wolves freeze mid-strike. Weapons shatter in their hands. The mountain groans, rolling its shoulders like a waking giant. One of the rival alphas snarls through his fear. You'll doom us all. She turns to him slowly. Silver fire flares higher. I was never your ending, she says, voice layered with generations, with blood and memory and truth. I am your reckoning. The words strike like a hammer. The ground erupts between them, a wall of molten stone and light cutting the battlefield in two. The attackers stumble back, faces pale, courage crumbling under the weight of what stands before them. She lifts her hand. The flames obey. They do not burn the innocent. They do not consume blindly. They hunt intent, wrapping around those who came to kill, binding them in glowing chains of ancient law. Silence slams down. She turns back to him. The fire dims just enough for her to kneel beside him, hands trembling now that the danger has bent its knee. She presses her palm over his wound, silver light pouring into torn flesh, knitting bone and skin with careful precision. He grips her wrist weakly. You came back, he breathes. Her eyes soften, but she doesn't apologize. I chose myself, she says. And I chose you. He exhales, relief breaking through pain. She rises again, turning to face the remaining council, the elders who watched, who judged, who condemned. I will not be your sacrifice, she says. I will not burn so you can feel safe. The sanctuary stands whole again behind her, reshaped by her will, ancient and unyielding. The wolves bow, not out of fear alone, but recognition. The final standoff settles into a tense, fragile stillness. Because everyone there understands the truth now. The Omega they tried to destroy has claimed her power. And the world will never be the same. The quiet arrives slowly. Not peace, just the absence of screaming. Ash drifts through the sanctuary like grey snow, settling on rebuilt stone, on fallen weapons, on wolves who don't yet trust their own breathing. The silver flames recede into the ground, leaving warmth behind, like a heartbeat beneath the earth. The ancestors withdraw, their voices fading into echoes that linger in her bones. She stands alone at the center. Power still hums under her skin, restrained now, coiled and watchful. The marks along her arms dim, but do not vanish. They have chosen her. They will never fully leave. She feels the weight of every gaze. Fear. Reverence. Guilt. Hope twisted with uncertainty. No one speaks. Then he moves. Slowly, carefully, as if approaching something sacred and dangerous all at once. He stops a few steps away, blood still staining his clothes, his crown fractured, his authority stripped down to the man beneath it. His eyes search her face, not for control, not for answers, but for truth. He is not afraid. That realization hits her harder than the battle. Or softens his features, sharpens his breath. He looks at her as if the world has cracked open and revealed something it was never meant to hold. "You didn't destroy us," he says quietly. She doesn't respond. She's watching for the moment he flinches. The instinctive step back. The fear everyone else carries like a second spine. It never comes. "You saved us," he continues. "Even when we didn't deserve it." The silence stretches between them, fragile as frost. She feels the old instinct stir, the urge to step away first, to leave before she can be rejected again. Power has not erased that wound. If anything, it has exposed it. "What happens now?" someone whispers from the crowd. The question hangs heavy. She turns, scanning the faces of wolves who once whispered her name like a curse. Elders who signed her death without touching the blade. Young ones who look at her like a living legend they are afraid to believe in. Her voice is softer now, but it carries. "That depends," she says, "on whether you want a ruler, or a reckoning." Unease ripples through them. She steps back from the altar, from the center, deliberately placing herself beside him, not above, not behind. The choice is visible. He watches her with something like reverence, and something like fear, not of her power, but of losing her. "If you walk away," he says under his breath, "they'll never stop hunting you." She meets his eyes. "If I stay," she replies, "they'll never stop testing me." A breath passes between them. Shared. Intimate. Unresolved. The moon slips from behind the clouds, bathing them both in pale light. Her silver marks catch it, gleaming softly, no longer a warning, but a promise. She turns back to the wolves one last time. "I am not asking you to kneel," she says. "I am asking you to choose." The night holds its breath. And somewhere beyond the sanctuary walls, the world listens, waiting to see whether it will fear her or follow her. And now the question is yours. Would you have feared her, or followed her? If this story awakens something in you, subscribe to Moonbound Werewolf Romance Stories. Because here, we tell tales that burn, bond, and bite back. The ruins sigh under the weight of what just passed. Stone dust drifts like ash through the chilled night air, settling on shattered pillars, scorched earth, and wolves still trembling from the silver fire. Silence lingers, but it is uneasy, tense, like the moment before a storm finally breaks again. She stands beside him, chest rising and falling, silver marks dimmed but still faintly glowing. As if reminding the world that power this vast cannot simply vanish. He watches her, unflinching, eyes still heavy with awe, but also with a question neither of them can voice yet. Around them, the sanctuary seems to breathe, ancient stones responding to her presence, humming low beneath the snow. The firelight, once fierce, now flickers weakly, shadows curling like long fingers over the broken ground. The air tastes of cold metal and moonlight, of earth disturbed and magic unleashed. Then it comes. The ground trembles again, not a soft shiver, but a deep, rolling quake that shakes the ruins from foundation to peak. Wolves stiffen, ears pinned, instincts screaming warning. Trees groan at the edges of the clearing, snow sliding silently from branches, as if the mountain itself is warning them, this night is far from over. She glances at him, fear and exhilaration in equal measure. "It's not done," she whispers. Her voice trembles, not from exhaustion, but from the pulse of something greater beneath the surface, something that stirs with each heartbeat, each breath, each flicker of her silver flame. From the shadows beyond the sanctuary, a voice low, threaded with power older than the mountain, cuts through the night. It is not human, not entirely. It is ancient, resonant, and commanding, a sound that makes the hairs along her spine rise. The Alpha King has risen, it intones, deliberate, almost reverent. But he is not the only one. The words land like ice on fire. She stiffens. The mark inside her flares again, responding to something unseen. He steps closer instinctively, protective, but even he cannot fully shield her from the gravity of that declaration. Their victory, their battle, the fire they unleashed, it is only one thread in a tapestry that is still weaving itself. Eyes narrow. Muscles coil. The wolves around them sense the shift, the stirrings of power they cannot yet name. Even the sanctuary trembles subtly underfoot, responding to forces long buried. Waiting, watching. The wind picks up, swirling ash and snow together in dizzying patterns. Shadows stretch and twist along the ruins, forming shapes that seem almost alive, almost sentient. She feels them watching, judging, recognizing, measuring her worth. Her pulse hammers in her ears, echoing like drums through the hollowed stones. He studies her. His hands hover near her shoulders, almost touching, almost grounding, but neither moves. The bond between them is heavy with unspoken promises, with power they both wield, and with the knowledge that the night is far from over. The voice from the dark speaks again, this time closer, more intimate, carrying the weight of inevitability. Let them rise, let the reckoning begin. Silver fire flickers along her arms instinctively, her body reacting before her mind can process. A low hum vibrates beneath her feet, in her chest, inside the very core of the sanctuary. The ancient magic responds, not just to her, but to the implication of what lies beyond the ruins. There are others. Others like him. Others like her. She looks up at him, lips parting, questions unspoken in the tilt of her head, in the widening of her eyes. He meets her gaze, and in that look is everything, trust, awe, caution, and the unyielding certainty that whatever comes next, it will demand more than either of them has faced. The mountain groans. Snow shifts in great waves along the ridges. The moon slips behind a veil of clouds. The world beyond the sanctuary exhales, holding its breath. And then darkness swallows the ruins, cold and absolute. But the echo of that voice lingers. A promise, a warning, a herald. The Alpha King stands, and she stands with him, their silhouettes framed by ruins and moonlight, silver marks faintly glowing, breath mingling in the frigid air. They are not alone. They never were. And somewhere in the unseen eyes watch, waiting, calculating, awakening. Because the story is far from over. Because the reckoning has only just begun. Fade. Black. The mountain is silent, too silent, and yet the pulse beneath it tells the truth, this night will be remembered. And what rises next, will not forget.